Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Hira Iqbal from Pep Talk Pakistan and I'm hosting this session for today. And most of the times you have seen Hassan Raza on this platform, but this time I am here and I am here with a very successful entrepreneur. She's a working lady and she's also the mother of a tennis future star. So let me introduce you to Aisha Ali Beg, and I want her to say something about herself so that people exactly know who you are and what you do.
Assalamu alaikum, Hira. Thank you for having me. Hira, I would just like to say, I come from a middle class working family. My parents have instilled those values in me that no matter what you do, work hard, be true to your values. So I am a working girl. Before Mikhail was born, I was already working in the IT field. While I was raising Mikhail, I'm still working in IT field, and I also started my own business earlier this year, where I am hosting and running tennis tournaments in US. And my goal is that maybe next year to start bringing tournaments also to inshallah Pakistan and to other countries. So it is, what I do is I have a career as an IT professional. I have my own business, and then of course I have to manage my family. So it's a lot of things.
Yeah, but you're managing it so well.
Thank you.
So the next question I have is you're from Multan, right? And it's not a city where everyone has the liberty to do everything, especially the ladies. So what kind of challenges did you face during your studies and your pursuing your career while living in that place and managing all the things around you?
Yeah. So, of course, this is something very true for Pakistan, especially the girls, when they want to pursue studies, it's always like, let's get them married off. As soon as the girl is 16 to 18 years old, why study? Let's get them married off. I was very lucky that my father supported me big time and said that, no, first you have to finish your studies, then we will think about all that. So my parents put me in a really good school where I was able to actually do my O-levels. And then from there, I went and did my undergrad and then moved to US to complete my master's degrees. And I had my family support the whole time. In fact, I'm the first girl from my family to have gotten a master's degree. So mashallah, I owe that to my parents, that without their support, I couldn't have done all that. I couldn't have been where I am. And I feel it is very important for women in Pakistan to have that education. And I hope the men of our country realize that. Whether you want to get them married, of course they will get married, they will have children. But in order to educate our children, the women need to be educated. It is such an important part. If you don't want them to work, that's okay. But at least education is so important for a mother so that she can educate her children and then raise them because our youth is the future of our country. So, for that reason, I just owe it all to my parents that they supported me for all that.
Right. So speaking of children, you have a son, mashallah, and while you were going through that whole procedure of pursuing your career, having a good position in a company, I just want you to tell me that what was the position you were working on and what personal challenges were you facing during that whole process.
So when Mikhail was born, I was working at Abbott Laboratories in Chicago at that time as an IT project manager. And in US, we only get 6 weeks as leave when a child is born, unfortunately. Not enough time because the child is only 6 weeks old and you have to return to work. And my biggest challenge was that at that time, my husband was working in Pakistan. So 3 weeks after, Mikhail's birth, he had to go back to his job, which was in Pakistan. So I was actually alone raising Mikhail. Fortunately, my parents live nearby, so they stepped in right away and they said, you have to go to work, we'll take care of Mikhail, because the biggest challenge is where do you leave the child? We don't have the same liberty that, here you have a lot of family living near you, you have maids who can come and help you. I didn't have any of that, so I was on my own. I relied on my parents for support to keep Mikhail at that time. While I would be at my office from 8 to 5, I would be working. I had the challenges to deal with any newborn that sometimes they get sick. You have to take time off. The work frowns upon that, but somehow I managed to balance it all out. It was very difficult, but mashallah, it worked out that now Mikhail is 11 years old I'm still able to do what I want to do. You know, I have had, my husband has supported always with my career, that, you know, he's okay that I am working. Of course, it's my responsibility that I give time to family first, then career, and then everything else.
So, Mikhail just recently won against India and he got the first position, mashallah. And you're always there to support him. I don't think there is a question of him missing out anything from your end just because you're working on your own. But what kind of support are you? Are you a positive reinforcement on him? What kind of motivation do you give him?
See, when a child does what mashallah Mikhail is doing, it's hard not to support him. In fact, you know, he brings out the support from all of us, and as parents we are very proud to provide him that support. He is definitely my pride. He is the reason that I would say that I want to do anything in life now. I mean, whatever I want to do, I want to do it for him. It was in fact a very proud moment what Mikhail did. I mean, winning from India was something that has never been heard of in junior tennis, in professional tennis. And Mikhail, along with his doubles partner, were able to pull off a historic win for Pakistan. I would say I was probably the loudest person in the crowd for sure. I mean, in fact, I still feel that my throat is a little bit down right now because how much I was screaming. But it is a proud moment for a mother to watch her child achieve his dreams at such a young age. And no matter what I do, if I'm working, I have meetings, I make sure to find time for him. He is my number one priority and he knows that. In fact, sometimes he says, Mom, take a break. You know, you don't need to be around me so much. You know, but for me, he is my priority. So no matter what I am doing, I make sure that I have his stuff as my priority, that if he has a match, everything else is on hold. My meetings can happen after that. I try to do a lot of my work actually at the after hours when he's sleeping. So I do have a lot of work at night that I'm doing. Now I work from home, so I can manage it that way, that I can do a lot of stuff after hours and give him more time during the day, because for his school I give him time. If he's at his practice, I make sure I take him to his practice and I'm sitting there, and I never ever miss his matches. That's my number one priority, that never misses when he's playing a match.
That's really good to know. Aisha, you're doing a lot of things. You're an entrepreneur, you have done job as well. So you have all kind of experiences coming from a middle class family, struggling for your studies and your work, doing a job and running something on your own. So which do you think is the biggest achievement for yourself?
Raising my son. Of course, I mean, all other things, you know, they happen. I, mashallah, had a good education. So of course, you know, I had a good job. All of it is very hard work, but to raise a child, and even though he's only 11 years old, but to raise a child who went and made Pakistan proud, who at an international level is achieving things, I would say that is the hardest thing to do. That was harder than getting any job. That was harder than me getting my master's degree. And to make sure that he stays on the path that he needs to stay on, to make sure that I can give him the time that he needs, and to make all his dreams come true, that is probably the hardest job, and I'm still working on that. You know, I'm still trying to figure it out as we go along.
But you're doing so great, and we are all so proud of him. What I have to ask is, what are the professional achievements you have done? Because I want the people to know what professionally you have achieved so far, and what do you think is the biggest achievement so far, and what are your plans?
So for 10 years, I've worked at Abbott Laboratories, and then I worked for another company called Cognizant. My projects were still with Abbott Laboratories as an IT project manager. Obviously, you know, I mean, in the IT world, you have to work your way up. And for me, the biggest achievement is, I mean, any working person knows that staying with a company for that long is a huge achievement in itself. Climbing up the ladder in the company, I mean, I started off as just a web developer. And then I worked my way up, you know, to a project manager, and inshallah, you know, my goal is to be a director at some point. And it is something that you have to work your way up. For a woman, it's even more challenging, especially, I mean, whether you're in US or in Pakistan, it doesn't matter. Wherever women are in the field, we have to, let's say, if a man is giving 100%, we have to give 200% for the same job. So I would say being able to do what I have done in my career, and obviously, being able to get a master's degree at such a young age, I was only 21 when I got it actually, have been very big highlights of my professional life. And again, without hard work, nothing happens. Without having the support of your family, nothing happens. And mashallah, I mean, obviously as a married person, my husband has been very supportive and all that. So it is something that I credit everybody in my circle around me to be always supportive for whatever I do.
So speaking of struggling 200% against a male employee, because you have been there, what do you think gave you the visibility of a good person, of a good employee, and being there? What made you visible among all the male employees? Because when you did it, it was long ago. It was not these recent times when we have a specific male to female ratio. It was not the same at that time. So what made you visible?
I would say my hard work and dedication. And those are the values I've passed on to Mikhail also. For example, first one in, first one out. So if everybody's coming in to work at 9 o'clock, well, I'm there at 8:30 then. I'm going to be there before you. If there's a project deadline that's due, I'm going to make sure I have made that deadline, or maybe even a day earlier. Compared to my peers, they'll probably meet the deadline. They'll just do the minimum work that needs to be done because they know. So going the extra mile for me was always important, and I feel part of that is my own personality. I like to always just go the extra mile. I am a perfectionist by nature, so whatever I will do, I want to make sure it's always perfect. If I'm giving a presentation to my clients, I'm going to make sure it's the best presentation that they see. If I'm like, for example, the tournaments, when I started running, we have a lot of tournament directors, a lot of people doing tournaments. Well, I'm going to run the best possible one. So whatever I do, so same values I have actually given to Mikhail. He is, even when he came here for the Pakistan team to play with the Pakistan team, their practice started at 9:30. He was on the court at 8 o'clock. Their practice ended at 12 o'clock. He was on the court till evening. So it's always that first come in, last one out. And I feel that has always been how I have operated, and maybe that is the reason for my success.
One question I had, just thought of, that don't you think it raises the expectations, especially from a female employee while you're working in an environment? It raises a lot of expectations that from the next time you're already going to be there before time, but sometimes you can't make it.
Sometimes you can't, and you're right actually. And in fact, one of my bosses was a female employer, and you would think having a female boss would be more understanding. And this was when Mikhail was very young, and she gave me a very hard time. In fact, she said I was out for maternity leave, okay, and she's my boss. And you would think she would be understanding, you're out for maternity. She actually, in my performance review, held it against me. I mean, she said that your performance this year has not been good. Well, what do you mean this year? I was out for maternity leave. What do you mean that my performance hasn't been good? It's a legal thing to take that time off. With her, I had to fight so much on proving myself for everything. I had to really go above and beyond on projects. I turned things around with her. I gained her trust to the point that she would not make any more decisions without actually consulting me. And I think a lot of it is, again, that interaction. Don't give up. I could have at that time said, I want to give up. I don't like this boss. I could have left. I could have found a different job. I could have taken the easy way out. I did come home. I got upset. I talked to my husband and I said, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to take the easy way out, because if I do it today, then that sets me up for my future. And I fought, and then mashallah, just things worked out after that.
So you're obviously not giving up on anything, but I just want to know that during this whole process of you struggling and everything, you obviously did not use a women card for anything. You're not going to say that I'm a female employee, just let me do this and that. Did you actually miss out on any kind of opportunities on basis of this specific factor?
I don't think so, and I think playing the female card, I see that every day here also. That it's very easy for us to just play our female card and say, okay, because we are women, let us be the way we are, or give us the easy pass or something. I don't want that. I never did that. I wanted to always, and my dad would say actually, even in school, he said you were faster than most boys. Because just because we are women doesn't mean that we want to be treated as like gentle or as, you know, as being like, hey, bhai, ye bichari aurat hai and all that. I don't want that. I am equal to all the men, probably even better than most men. And you know what? Take it. I mean, deal with it. Ke I am empowered to be the woman I am. And if a man cannot tolerate that, I would say shame on them. You know, they need to, in today's world, they need to accept that women have equal rights. Women are capable of doing pretty much everything, and you see that in sports now, you see that in the corporate world, you see that everywhere. I mean, you know, that women are empowered now to do basically everything. So there should be nothing as such that let's use our female card. There should be no such thing anymore.
Right, and I absolutely second that, because now is not the time for us to play the female card. We just have to perform and we just have to make ourselves visible. The last thing I want to ask you to please talk to the females who are, you know, in Multan, who are in Okara or in these kind of cities which are not very known and which do not have a lot of facilities for them. Because when you're living somewhere, you own the thought process of that place also.
Definitely.
No much how you know, it doesn't matter how much liberal your family is, you have to adopt the thought process of that place. So I want you to talk to those females. There might be some females who are stuck in some job but they want to work. You being an entrepreneur, motivate them. So can you say something for them?
Bilkul. I would say that first, if you have a dream, try to go after it. People will, of course, whenever, I mean, whether you're a man or a woman, as soon as you tell the world your dream, they're going to find tons of ways to stop you from that dream. So you have to find people you trust. That's your inner circle. That is your family, maybe your husband, maybe your brother, your sister, your parents. Use them as your support. Don't give up on that dream. And no matter where you live, I mean, of course, I get it that, you know, there are places in our country that don't want women to progress. I would say for Pakistan especially, the most important thing for our women is to be educated. That is the most important thing. So even if you cannot go to school, there are many ways to educate yourself. Be educated so that you can pass on those values to your children so that they can have a better future. I mean, our future is our youth. And as women, as mothers, it is important that we can make sure that our future of our country is in the best of hands.
All right. That's really good to know. And thank you so much, Aisha, for taking out time and visiting us. And good luck for all the things you're doing. You're doing great. And we're also proud of you and Mikhail as well.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much.
Okay. Aisha, we have a good following on LinkedIn and people are following us on YouTube. They're watching us right now. I want you to give a message to the followers of Pep Talk Pakistan.
So I think what Pep Talk Pakistan is doing is great. The interviews that they show of the corporate people is excellent. I would just encourage all our viewers that keep on watching them, go watch the previous videos, go keep on supporting Pep Talk Pakistan, pass the word around. I feel that every interview that you listen to, there might be just one thing that you can take away. You know, that one thing might help you in your career, in your personal life, in your future. And every guest that they have on Pep Talk Pakistan will probably have some new insights. So keep on supporting Pep Talk Pakistan so that they can keep on bringing more new guests to us.
Thank you so much, Aisha.
Thank you.